All right, let's talk about the Ranger Hoodie LT and the Ranger Jacket LT. For the purposes of this video, we're going to go over the Ranger Hoodie LT. The Ranger Jacket LT has all the same features, minus the hood, of course. So let's first talk about our Ranger program. Our Ranger program has been around for over a decade. It's one of the staple pieces of the brand, and it's gone through a couple iterations, small changes over the years, like zipper pulls and things like that. On this version that you're seeing in this video, we've actually modded some of the zipper pulls a little bit, so you'll notice they're a little different than the one that you'd receive, but it's also an example of what you could do to mod yours. If you want to change out the zipper pulls and things like that, you can just snip the zipper pull that comes with it and change it out for whatever you'd like. Some folks like to do paracord, some folks like to use our zipper pulls or zipper plugs, really whatever suits your fancy. So the Ranger program was originally two different types of Ranger hoodies and Ranger jackets. There was the traditional Ranger and then the LT version. The original version, just the Ranger, was a 10-ounce fleece and from Polartec, the Polartec Wind Pro fleece, and the Ranger LT was just an 8.5 ounce, so you lose that 1.5 ounce fleece. Now, over the years, what we found was that the LT was actually a little bit more popular, and there's for a few reasons that way. One, you almost see no performance loss between the two differences. It really boiled down to comfort of the wearer. That thicker fleece was just a little bit harder to layer under an outer shell, and it restricted mobility just a little bit. Last year, Polartec made the decision they weren't going to produce the 10 ounce anymore, but the 8.5 ounce is producing just fine, so very, very popular for them and for us. So moving forward, all the Ranger stuff is going to be the 8.5 ounce fleece Wind Pro from Polartec. So while we're on that subject, let's go ahead and talk about the properties of Wind Pro and why it's such a staple piece for us and why it's so versatile. One, it's immensely soft. It's super soft to the skin, very comfortable. It's cozy. It's a great piece that either feels good just sitting on the couch on a cool night, sitting out by the bonfire, just being outside, or kind of just lounging around town. It's just a nice cozy piece to wear. Conversely, it's also really warm. Because of that fleece, it does retain thermal properties, so it does retain heat and warm up. However, the other rad properties about it is the fact that the fleece is woven so thick and so dense that it repels water and blocks wind. So really, if you get out into some adverse conditions, you're going to have that Wind Pro block the wind, and under mild moisture or mild rain, mild snow, things like that, it won't penetrate that fleece. It can't get all the way through that densely woven fleece. Now, if you were to go submerged or get in a torrential downpour or something like that, it would eventually soak through the fleece and into the inside, and you would thus get wet. But for an all-around capable mid-layer piece that you can wear as an outer layer or throw a shell on and then have it as more as a thermal insulating piece, it's really hard to go wrong with the Ranger. Again, it's been around for over a decade for us. It's immensely popular, and we have a hard time keeping them in stock and keeping up with demand. So that's kind of an overview of the Ranger. Now let's go ahead and go over some of the specific features and benefits. Starting with the hood, again, Ranger Hoodie. So you have a three-piece hood that you can see here. You have a real high collar. So if you wanted to, you could zip that all the way up. There's a nice, really soft fleece cover for the zipper here. So if you were to zip it all the way up on your face, it kind of comes up just below the nose there. It's not, you don't have that abrasion against your face. It's a nice three-piece hood. You have a small bill coming out on the top of it here, so that's just to keep some moisture, rain, snow, whatever, from dripping down into your face, so it should drip out and over. So obviously for the jacket, just omit the hood, but you still have that nice high collar, so if you wanted to zip it up and block some of the wind or the elements, whatever environment you may be in, you have that. Moving down to the chest, you have two large upper chest pockets, very large zippers you see here. And what's unique about these is on the inside, you'll notice that they are mesh lined. We did that on purpose to help dissipate some of that heat. So let's say you're in a cool environment and you throw this on through some movement or whatnot, you warm up. What you can actually do is, instead of taking it off completely, is run the zippers down here on the chest as well as your bicep zippers. They are also fleece lined, or mesh lined. We'll go into that in a minute. But that'll help the wind. If there is wind, or if you have some heat, it'll help dissipate that. The wind will move through the garment and kind of cool you off. So it's kind of a twofold thing. One, yes, it is a fairly large pocket. You have anchor points inside, so you can attach your keys or your lanyard or something like that. You have a what we refer to as a media port, which I'll go ahead and show you here. So you have a little slit here, that's your media port. So you can run your headphones or something like that. So keep your phone protected in the pocket, run your headphones up. Again, anchor points inside, fleece or mesh lined. Coming around, you have 2 bicep pockets, also mesh lined, and you also have anchor points up here at the top, as you can see here. And then on the left sleeve, you just have this sleeve pocket you can see here, and that's great for smaller items like loose cash, maybe a single key, or a handful of keys or something like that. Small wallet if you have a wallet. Our wallet will fit in there just fine. And then you have thumb holes here. That's just to help with layering. So if you are gonna, throw on an outer shell or something like that, you can pop your thumbs through the thumb holes and quickly throw on an outer shell there. Moving around to the back, you have a completely pass-through hunter's pocket. So just to show you what that looks like. So you have these 2 zippers. You would run those down. Again, this is mesh lined. So when you start to look at all the pocketing that is all mesh lined, you can really open up all your pockets, get nice good wind flow through, and dissipate a lot of that heat without actually removing the garment. So it's a full pass-through. So this is great for just storing odd items like gloves or a beanie or something like that that you might take on and off depending on what your movement is. Conversely, it also works great if you are using a glove and a beanie. Throw them in there, and by being close to your body, it actually kind of keeps them warm. So if you do get into a cold environment, you can take those items out, put them on, and they're nice and warm. So that's just a nice hunter's pocket. That is on both the hoodie and the jacket. And then kind of rounding out all the features, you have zippers for up and down. So you can maintain the garment, but if you need to get on something on the inside, or if you need to get to your waistline for whatever reason, you don't have to fully remove the garment, nor do you have to have it completely open to access your waistline or your pockets or whatever the case may be there. And last but not least, coming around, we have these adjustment cinch cords here, and that's to just kind of pull it tight to your body here on the bottom. So if you do get into some adverse weather, high wind, something like that, you can kind of cinch it here around your waistline, and that kind of holds it tight to your body to keep that wind from coming up under it. So there you go. That's kind of your quick overview of the Ranger Hoodie LT and Ranger Jacket LT.